What it do, KTTV? This is KT, and I'm coming at you live with another episode of the Daily K Podcast. And on today's episode, I have the owner of Visible Evidence, philanthropist, media personality, and author, Miss Meka Diamond in the building. How you doing today, Miss Meka?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Look, I am glad to have you here. Glad that you're taking some time to come through and just talk about the work and the journey as we preview over the past 6 months that we just talked about. So thank you for tuning in and really just taking that time today.
Absolutely. I wouldn't be no other place on a Thursday night than right here with
Hey,
KTV.
hey, I appreciate that. So jumping before we jump into things.
Yes.
I love to do the wellness check. We gotta because it's crazy out here. We've been in the production, we've been in events, we've been in having people in the studio. How have you been since our last conversation, and how you keeping safe out here in these streets?
Man, I've been good. I have definitely been good. I will say that I got my first shot of the vaccine this month. So I've been keeping with, I have been out in these COVID streets, but I've been making sure that I stay protected with my mask, of course, and trying my best to avoid the crowds that are gathering not in social distancing. So that's what I.
Mm. And I'm talking about way, way easier said than done. I tell you these days. So just jumping into things for the people that don't know, we
Yeah.
got some brand new people. Who are you, and what do you do in the city of Houston?
Wow. Well, I'm a. So let's see which vein we're gonna go in. But I am the owner of Visible Evidence Consulting Firm, where we help clients reach new levels of success through digital marketing, branding, as well as PR, of course, media, and one of my favorites, my ultimate community outreach. I am also the new owner of Mika Diamond Inc. that we are going to talk about, where I enhance the lives that I touch each and every day by way of speaking engagements. My newest release of my book, Diamond in the Rough, that we're going to talk about, as well as just making sure that I connect with those more on a personal level with the things that I love to do rather than it just be about business.
Hey, look, it's hard because the business it happens so fast, and so you have to be intentional about making those connections. So I understand totally.
Yes.
Now, for the people that do know, the last time you were here, we
Mhm.
were promoting the day. We were talking about the event that was going on. Man, welcome back. Fill us in on how did it go?
Oh my God.
What did you learn, and what's the plan for next year?
Listen, the plan for this year, because that was
Yeah,
last, seems like it was just
yeah.
a month because we were planning for it. But I will say, this past year in 2020, especially during a pandemic, I had no idea that it would grow to the magnitude that it grew from. When I talked to you, we were only at about 475 individuals that we were going to feed with Thanksgiving
Mm.
meal is for Share the Feast. And this was our fourth annual Share the Feast. And we fed over 1,200 mouths year, and it was so awesome, especially during the pandemic. There were so many organizations such as the World Youth Foundation. We connected with the Foxhole family. We had so many women that have been dealing with some type of breast cancer or type of cancer, Chiari. It was a lot of people who got gathered together in order to make sure that we served our purpose by helping those during the Thanksgiving holiday. So it happened rather quickly, but I was so grateful for all of the volunteers, all of those who connected, the organizations who came together for the greater good of the city of Houston.
Man, and what a time, what a time. Like that's how they say it in the church house. That's
Right.
it. Well, congratulations on having such a great event that's really giving back.
Yes.
I look forward to getting out there this year. I can't remember. I think it was the radio show last year.
Yes.
Yeah. So this year, hopefully, we'll be able to get out there and put me to work a little bit. Hey.
I'm
So,
that.
hey, I don't have a problem. So with so much going on,
Yes.
I want to say first off, it's awesome that you were able to find that time to get your story out because you never know like who that reaches and what it does for people. So why, with so much you have going on, why is this the time to get that story out there?
So let's just be honest and transparent, as I always am. I never had a vision of writing a book.
Mhm.
I had the vision in 2015 of standing in front of a group of women sharing my story. It
Mhm.
was never about a book. And so in 2009, I've always been asked, based on the conversations that I've had with people publicly, little snippets on little things that I would share, not my personal testimony, but it would always be something to share that would help somebody else based on the conversation. And I always get asked the question, when are you going to write a book, whether it be about
Mhm.
business, whether it be about some of the things that nobody ever knew that I was experiencing these things that I was sharing, because I never made it personal, but I always had something to say based on my own experience. And so
Mhm.
I was sitting down in 2020 during the pandemic, like everybody, during COVID-19, and sitting, and I was like, you know what? I remember the vision that God gave me, that I have spoken in front of women, but I needed something tangible to have that
Mhm.
women and men could relate to. So
Mhm.
it's not a woman's story, right? The things that I talk about in the book can be for male and for female. And so I thought about it and I said, you know what? I'm going to give myself a timeline. I'm going to give myself a timeline of my 43rd birthday. And
Mhm.
so next week I turn 43 on April the 14th. So for my birthday, for myself, I am going to release my past and I'm going to prepare for where God has me and my purpose for the future.
Man, you're so awesome on just making special dates, truly special dates,
Yeah,
right? That's
yeah. I'm a date girl. I'm a date girl.
hey, well, that's good. Well, happy early birthday. I will say that first. And man, that is awesome. So in thinking about that, and talking about what we talked about before we jumped on about the last 6 months, how did you find that time and what was that progress like? Like early more or to say early days, late nights?
Man, listen. So, and I'm going to be honest with y'all. I literally wrote that book in about 3 months. Literally. And the reason why is because what people don't know, and I'll share, it's a series of books. This is actually my first book of a series. And so I wanted to carry along with my journey. And so because I had to bring you back from the beginning, it's going to stop at a certain point and it's going to pick up in the next book. So what I had to do, the journey was very difficult. And I'm going to be honest with you. For one, I had to relaunch another business first. So not only was I writing this book, I had to relaunch Mika Diamond Inc. because Mika Diamond Inc. is more personal. It's not as a consulting firm like Visible Evidence. So I didn't want to place the book up underneath the E. I wanted to move towards my purpose, which you'll find out once you read the book.
Mhm.
But so not only was I writing, but I had to function, scale one business, start a new business, and put everything in place that I picked apart in one business to add to another, right? So the journey, and it's funny how you hear authors and you hear people speak about you have to be in a certain space when you're writing. You have to be your thought process, your creative mindset has to flow in order for you to write. So one morning I got up, it was on a Sunday morning, I'll never forget, and I had this burst of energy. I've been saying I need to write, I need to write, I need to write, but never got up, never got the pen in the pen, never got the computer. So that one morning I got up with this burst of energy, like 3 4 o'clock in the morning, and I just started typing. I just started typing. And as I looked up, it was like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. And I
Wow.
typing that entire time. And as I typed more creative things and I started remembering things that I needed to add to it. And so I can recall going back and trying to make sure the grammar was good. And then I called someone who was coaching me, Leticia B of Lifetime Publishing Partnerships. And she said, just type, Mika, just write. Don't worry about all
Mhm.
the other stuff. Just keep writing, just keep writing. And so it's funny how I would have to be in that same space every time I decided to start writing again. Because every time I would think about it and I would want to, or I may try typing in another area, I just couldn't get my thought process together. The creativity wouldn't flow as good as it would flow in that one space. So it was difficult because this is my first time. So I didn't know
Yeah.
what I was supposed to be doing. I didn't know
Mhm.
how, but I end up writing it in 3 months. And the last two chapters was the hardest because I tried to figure out, I didn't want to just write it because time was running out.
Mhm.
And so I had to make sure that I was mentally in a space where and I even went back after the editing and I added a new chapter because God was telling me, okay, you leaving a part out that you need to put in, not for yourself, but for somebody else. And
Mhm.
so, but yeah, it was good. It was good. The
Man.
process was fun. The journey was definitely one I've never witnessed before because I was
Mhm.
doing all of these things at one time. That's life
Yes.
changing during the
And
pandemic.
big shout out. Yeah, big. I remember when we talked about that. Around November last year, you said the
Yeah,
pandemic kind of gave you that opportunity to reshape some
yeah,
things, and bam, you hit us with it.
yep. That's
That's
what
it.
surprise it is.
And so with so much going on, and with us doing the media personality, like I think about all of those people who don't start or don't do something because they overthink that process. And so with the coach telling you, don't worry about all that, right? Just right. Like how powerful was that for your psyche and just easing and calming the fears?
Oh man, it was something so little, but it was so
Yeah.
profound. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because especially when you're a strategic planner, a strategic thinker,
Mm-hmm.
and this not being a space that you've ever been in before. So when somebody tell you that, it's like, don't worry about it, just keep going because it will stop the flow of your creativity if you keep deleting a whole sentence and adding another sentence, or if you add
Mm-hmm.
a word or worried about that. So it's just more, it keeps the creativity flowing. It keeps the story going so that you don't miss pieces of the story that someone else needs to read. And that was
Yeah.
another, I wanted to make sure, and I tell people all the time, a lot of people don't know, or they're worried about the bestseller title. They want to get on Amazon so they can get all of these accolades for what it
Mm-hmm.
is writing. And that was never that wasn't my focus. My focus was that when someone reads the book, I'll get the bestseller because I'm telling a story and somebody's being blessed because of what they're reading. So it's never about accolades, it's not about the money, it's not about any of those things. It's about being transparent and being able to share my own personal testimony, so somebody who may be possibly in the space that I was in or may go through it later on, I persevered and continue to push forward to get to the book.
Man. And the subtitle for me was everything from pressure to purpose.
Mhm.
And so in the book, just reading, it says the story of a woman who had it, lost it, and rebuilt it all brick by brick. So without giving us too much, give
Yeah.
us some insight as to what that looks like within the book.
So I'll give you a space. People see me, right? Especially us
Mm-hmm.
being in the public arena where we're doing media, we're in the schools, we're doing all of those different things. They see all the glory, right? But they don't look at you as you've had some things that's happened behind the scenes, right? They think it's easy because what you see, that's the perception. And so for me to be in the spaces, there are some things in this book that people are gonna look at me and be like, wow, I never even knew she was going through that. Like, I never seen her waver from the person that we saw her to be. I never seen it, never looked like she was having issues. It never looked like she was without money. She looked like she had $1 million, but was really
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out how she was going to eat the next day. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? All of those different things. And so, um, especially going back through it and understanding now the setup, the way
Mm-hmm.
that God strategically placed me in places that I didn't know, that were hard times, difficult times, but there were lessons in those times that I needed
Yeah.
to, in order to get to where I am. And so that's it. That's the journey. That's
Mm-hmm.
the difficult part of knowing that people saw me one way, but when you read the book, you'll be able to say, man, she sustained a lot of stuff that we never even thought that she was going through because of what she looked like or the perception of what she looked like to everybody.
Mm. And then just thinking about all the people that you talk to. And so you'd be like, okay, well, this interview and this, oh, that just triggered this, it just
Yeah.
triggered that. Was it a lot of that?
Oh man. So that funny thing about it is
Mm-hmm.
those triggers were people, I knew that they were triggers that God wanted me to reveal and say
Mm.
things, because a lot of people would ask, when you writing a book? And I wouldn't even, I'm like, I'm not writing a book. Like That's not in me to write the book. I know God spoke to me about speaking in front of people. He didn't say write a book. But then I thought about it, and I said the book is something tangible. The book
Mhm.
will lead me to the purpose that God led me to speaking in front of women and men. And
Mhm.
so read the story, and once others read the story, they will understand why I was moved into this arena, why being in media was one of the places I needed to be in to share those little snippets of stories,
Mhm.
give my opinion, and to help somebody that was going through different things, that didn't even know I was walking through the same thing that they were going through. They just didn't
Yeah.
know.
And like you say, when you're going out now, because it's one thing to be able to talk just from you, but to be able to have that book to say, okay, the
Yes.
rest of these stories are shared in this, and you already intrigued people through the talking. So I
Yeah.
think it's a great way to kind of follow up as you go out and speak to people and do different things. And
Especially,
so,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm listening. What'd you say?
Especially when you know that every chapter in the book, I give you the trial and I give you the walkthrough. I
Mhm.
give me the painful moment, but I also give you the lesson I learned, so that if you are in that space, if you're in that space or you've been in that space, you can look back at your life and say, you know what? I didn't look at it as a lesson. I looked at it
Mhm.
as a painful moment. I looked at it as
Mhm.
something difficult that I was going through. But this will make you change the narrative of your own story, because you'll be able to say, you know what? I did go through that, but let me go back and figure out what the lesson was in it. What was God sharing with me or wanted me to learn, so that I can move to the next platform or to the
Mhm.
next of my life or towards my purpose. So yeah.
And when you say a series, did you kind of start it off like at periods of your life as you kind of go through your story, or how did you chronicle? You know the word for the series.
Yeah.
How did you put it in order?
So I started it off with my life training. It was a real pivotal, dark time in my
Mhm.
life, that I walked through, and many didn't know that I was walking through it. Some do, but I went from that moment to the different stages of life. But I'm gonna tell you something. What's so funny is, as I was writing, I never wanted to put a year in it. I never
Mhm.
wanted to put a year. I never wanted to give dates, time stamps, or any of those things, because I wanted people to try to figure out, what time was that in her life? Which season was that? Because I never saw that. And if
Mhm.
you put time stamps on it, then people will be like, she wasn't acting like that then. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Until the end of the book, when it cuts off, you will know, because it's going to walk with me as my journey continues, as my purpose is more fulfilled, then more books, because there's going to be more trials, there's going to be more
Yeah.
tribulation, there's going to be more platform growth, there's going to
Mhm.
be different going to happen in my purpose season. And so I want people to understand, just because I arrived doesn't mean that I'm not going to go through more things. And
Yeah.
so this book helped me to understand that, yes, I did go through things. There was some bad seasons, but I just got to keep towards the purpose and keep moving. And then every chapter, you'll see where I moved from platform to platform and went higher in platform, lost some people and all
Mhm.
of those. So you're gonna see all of those things: bad
Yeah.
business, adultery,
Yeah.
all of those things are in the book.
Man. And so as people talk about getting the book, access, you got the book signing coming up. So
Yes,
big shouts out to just making it happen, maneuvering through the pandemic
yes,
and figuring out how to do it where people get a little bit of both, right?
yes,
So tell us about the book signing, and then how do we be a part?
absolutely. So the book signing, okay, y'all, we still are in COVID-19,
Hey.
and if anybody knows me, they know. And I'm speaking this publicly because people get in their feelings. So
Hey.
we public, right? I can't invite everybody because we are in a pandemic. And
Mhm.
so what I did was, I wanted to make sure that I invited the majority of those who are in the book, because there's a lot of key people that are in my book that have been a part of my journey. And I have
Mhm.
to make sure that I recognize who they are, because they helped me, and they'll understand how they helped me when they read the book. A lot of them don't even know what role they play, where they fit in, or any of that things, any of those things. But so we are having virtual, and then we also are having exclusive invites to the book release, the book signing, and it is on May the 22nd. So it's on May the 22nd. It is exclusive, but for anybody who wants to join virtual, you'll be able to see the exact same thing that everybody else is seeing. I am signing all of those who have pre-ordered a book, so don't think that your book won't be signed, because it will be signed. But for all of those who don't get the exclusive invite, it's not because I love you any less. It's just because I have to only have so many people that will be there. So a link will be put up. A link will be put up this week on the actual day that the book is actually released on April the 14th. A virtual link is going to be put up for all of those who would love to share in this amazing journey with me. I would love for y'all to attend.
Now, when you say that book, you made me think about was that The Best Man?
Yes.
When he wrote the book and all his friends was in it, they didn't. Hey, so not the best man type celebrating.
Well, listen, I will say this. There'll be bad people.
Yeah.
There'll be some people that I was transparent. I pulled back the
Okay.
list. Names of some struggles, some trials, but if you you will know your place. But
Yeah. Hey.
for those who had positive influence, who walked through my journey, who are still walking through my journey with me, I have included their name in the book.
That's cool. That is cool. And now on top of the book, on top of the work, you talked about it a little bit, the Meka Diamond Inc.
Yes.
So as a consultant for people who are doing their business and you're helping them branch out, how hard were you on yourself in making sure that this was a top-notch release of the new brand?
Oh my gosh. If anybody anything half done, if half done, I won't do it. Right. I have my own goals that are for myself. And so anybody who know me know that I'm not a half doer when it comes to putting out anything. And so being creative and being under a marketing and branding umbrella, I was very strategic in my movement, because I know that one is purposed and the other was one because I just been blessed with gifts to be able to do and have the expertise in certain things. And I always want to be clear, because I don't want people to think that I no longer have visible evidence, because that's not it. It's just that I have two different brands now doing two different things. But one I want to be more involved in. The other one I want to be just the boss of. I'll say
Yeah.
that. But it was very strategic. Everything that I did was strategic. That's why it looks totally different. It's more me and Mika Diamond than it is the VE umbrella of everything. It's more personal, because I feel like this is more of a ministry that I'm going into, more than just a job. It's something that I love to do. It's something that I want to see others being blessed because of the things that I'm getting ready to do in this next season of my purpose.
Man, and I am looking so forward to everything that's going on.
Yes.
Man, that is awesome. And so, in thinking about the morning tea, because it's still going strong.
Yes.
Yes, and everything else you got. So talk to me about everything. What else you got going on here? The radio, the TV.
So it's so funny, because I put out Mika Diamond Inc. and it's like people already knew that was a space for me. That's how you know it's purpose, right? Because have I am booked the entire month of May with speaking engagements. And I just launched Mika Diamond Inc. March the 15th of last month. And so that's more the space that I'm going in. I want to do more speaking engagements. I want to talk more to young adults. So I have an event on May the 1st, which will take place here in the city of Houston. I'm going on a tour titled Level Up Tour. Houston is the first city that we will be. It's going to be with some phenomenal women. We have some panelists, some people that are here, some women that are here, going to be here from Chicago. We're going to Chicago. We also have Atlanta. And so one was a domestic violence survivor, shot 4 times and still alive to share her story. So very powerful event that's going to take place on May the 1st. Also, I'm a panelist and a host for Rated X on May the 8th with Chris from the City Highlights on GMT as well.
Hey, oh Chris.
And then, of course, we have the book signing that's taking place on May the 22nd. So,
man, big shout out to Chris, man. How was it working with old Chris and getting in the game with her deeper and deeper?
Chris told me, it's so funny because I met Chris through somebody else, through a mutual friend. but I knew that she had it in her to be a host. And so I called her one night. It may have been 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, Chris, I got an opportunity for you. So I shared with her what it was. And she was like emotional because she knew that it was something that she wanted to do, but she just needed that
Mhm.
extra push for somebody to
Mhm.
do, help her to do it. And so she got in that space and she owned it. And so she is a ball of fire. Like
Mhm.
she is Chris. She is who
Yeah.
she is.
Yeah.
She's fun. She is excited, and so it's amazing. Now she's with me as one of my co-hosts on Meet Houston. So now she's sharing a platform with me on a talk show. So it's just been amazing to be able to see her blossom in a space that was already for her. She just didn't know that yet.
Yes, and I was looking at the talk show. I know y'all did a few episodes. So
Yes,
how did that even come about, and what is the plan? How are you going to even use the book on the platform?
absolutely. Like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna once the book come out, it's gonna be a lot of conversations about the book.
Hey, there we go.
Live show and get perspectives of things that because I would love a man and a woman to share their experience in their own personal spaces when you read the
Mhm.
book.
Mhm.
But Meet Houston is a talk show where we talk about things that's happened in the city, right? We also talk about some Houston fun facts. There's a lot of things, a lot of history in the city of Houston that people don't know about. So I love to be able to share our city, get to the ground roots of where things started with Third Ward
Mhm.
and Fifth Ward and all of those different things. And so it started out with me by myself. And so Chris and I, as well as Latisa B, we always have go to eat and have these conversations with each other. We like, man, we should have that on the show. And so
Yeah.
we started Black Girl Magic on one of Chris' shows on the radio show. And we had so many people that loved the show, loved the conversation. I decided, I was like, we need to keep this going. And so
Mhm.
we have a segment on the show called the Rose Bowl Chronicles, which is always a topic to talk about some of the things that we like to talk about and get each other's perspectives. And I'm always in the middle. It's
Mhm.
always one saying one thing, another's going the other way, and I'm in the middle trying to be on both sides. So it's a real good show. We have a lot of fun.
Man, I love it. I love it. Now, as we get ready to close this thing out,
Yeah.
as you doing this speaking, I cannot let you get away without leaving us with some good words. So we got the pandemic still going. People think
Yes.
it's over. It's not, people.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of anxiety out here, a lot of fear, and we still got people who willing to take that leap, and even entrepreneurs coming at the end of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Just like those words for you was write, just keep writing. What do you say to those people who need that extra push right
I'll say there were a lot of people who had no choice but to survive in
now?
2020. There were a lot of people that wasn't prepared for the pandemic, lost a lot of jobs, lost wages. You went part-time from full-time. And so there is a lot of people who has had something inside of them. God has given them a gift that they have not released. They have not birthed a baby that has been given to them for years. I would say seek in what it is that you've been given. Get with those who can uplift you, motivate you, encourage you, educate you, and help you along the way. A lot of times, as those who have these ideas, these gifts, we don't know where to start. And there is a lot of people that will be willing to help you because they want to see you succeed. And I think one of the biggest things is we just have to realize that we have been given a gift and it's not by accident. You just have to see the things that you need in order to fulfill. And sometimes I went one way, I messed up, and I had to change some things. So it's okay if you even have a business that you started and it wasn't as successful as you wanted it to be. There are things that you can change in order for you to be successful. You just have to reach out and ask for the help that you need in order to push forward. So if I could birth a business, if I could change a business, relaunch a business, do a book during a pandemic, and sustain my company where a lot of people couldn't, even in the workforce where they had a boss and they were comfortable with the checks that they were receiving. I tell anybody, if you seek God and continue to have faith in what it is that you know that He has shown you, then you'll be able to do the exact same thing that I did, if not more.
Yeah. Mic drop right there. Hey, very, very awesome words. Very, very great wisdom,
Thank
insight. Because I think, like you say, if you worry about what people say, worry about what people think, you'll never get started. But regardless of whether we're going in the pandemic out, it's never a bad time to take the leap. So take it.
especially if and don't stop. It may
Yeah.
get ugly. it make it real ugly. And you'll see, and those who purchase the book will see how ugly it got for me, and how I was still determined. I still was steadfast and persevered through the ugly moments, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Where it says lean not unto your own understanding. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I had to do. I had to not lean not to what I saw, how I felt, and continue to push forward, because I know that where my faith resides, and I know that I still had something left in me that I was supposed to birth, and that's what I did.
Big Miss Bass that came through. Big shout out to Miss Bass, old inner city greens. Hey, so I guess nothing left but to tell us, how do we find you? How do
Sure.
we find this book
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, listen, I think everybody needs to buy this book. Everybody. But
right
no,
now?
right. You can go to diamond www.diamondintheroughbook.com, and it's rough ruff book.com. It's still pre-sale. I'll be honest with you. I picked up 100 books today. All of the 100 that I picked up to mail out tomorrow has already been sold.
Mhm.
But I will have more books that's going to go out next week. So if you pre-order a book, if you want it by the release date, you want it before the release date, so you'll be able to share your pictures and share your experiences before the masses start ordering them. You can go to the website and do that right now. You can also follow me on Instagram as well as Facebook, Mika Diamond Inc, of course, and that's Mika Diamond Inc, or Mika_Diamond, or Visible Evidence, whichever three. If you want to follow all three, you'll get all of the details on what I have up and coming, and how you can get in contact with me with some of the events that I have coming up.
Man, that's it right there in the pot. Oh, but this the question. Now, all these pre-orders, ain't no stamps. You putting the pen to everything.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I'm
Okay.
starting. Interview is over.
Hey, that's cool. Well, I say thank you for taking some time out.
Yeah, if you took the time to order a book, I feel like it needs to be personalized. And so I'm gonna do my due diligence, because I'm appreciative of the effort, the time, the monies that's been invested, the excitement. God knows it's been an awesome experience to see how those are excited. Now, I'm excited more about hearing what people got from the book after you read it. So
Hmm.
I'm going to do that. So books are still on sale. You still will get them next week. You may not get them on the 14th, but you will get them next week. Go ahead and order.
That's it then. All right. Well, thank you for that time today, Miss Mika Diamond.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on the KT experience.
Hey, I'll be glad to and looking forward to you following up with us as you get some of those experiences from people who read the book.
Absolutely.
All right. This is KT for KTTV signing out. 100.